Hello and welcome to another episode of the Odyssey Podcast. My name is Jeremy Riley and this is brought to you by Ithaca Media. This is the podcast where we explore the lives and journeys of people out there in the community, whether they be entrepreneurs, experts, or people with an impactful story to share. Our guest today is Nilesh Makwana. Nilesh is an entrepreneur concerned with social impact. He's an award-winning author of his book Terminal 4, an entrepreneur's journey from bicycle to business class, and he's the CEO of Illuminance Solutions. So Nilesh, I really want to welcome you to this podcast and appreciate you coming down.
Oh, that's all right. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here with you.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. We were saying before we started like how I kind of came to hear you, and I actually came across you from listening to another podcast, and it was about your book Terminal 4, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot about it in the podcast, but I kind of wanted to start there because you came from a town called I'm going to butcher the name of this, but Gujarat, India, is that?
Yeah, that's the name of the state, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So tell us your origin story of where things started off for you over in India.
Yeah, so in India, there's a state called Gujarat, which is the western part of India. And there's a city called Rajkot, which is a small town at the time. But now it's the second largest city in that state. And grew up there as a child, lived with my grandfather, moved to Mumbai, Bombay at the time. And then from there I moved to England, in London, and then eventually to Perth, Western Australia. So I started my journey there in Gujarat on the street of Rajkot city, where I was selling stuff on the street but not studying in a classroom.
Right.
And then you could say that I was an entrepreneur from the start. And that led me to doing a lot of different things in life and business and everything. But if you ask me any school questions, curriculum question, I wouldn't be able to answer much.
Yeah, right. Okay. So like you said, from a young age, you were interested as well. You had that entrepreneurial spirit from a young age. What exactly were you selling like at that age? And how young are we talking here? What sort of age?
So I must be like 10, 11 years old when I was selling. My first item was stickers, glowy stickers. So when you put it on the notebooks or your compass box on your bag, it glows in the dark, And so I used to buy a full packet and then sell individual to kids, whichever they like, It could be rainbow, or they like dinosaurs, or it could be a peacock, whatever they like, they'll get individually, they'll pay for it. And then I started selling ball pens, which was called Reynolds 5.0. It had a really nice, amazing pointy soft point, and it was a blue and white case, amazing pen at the time. And I used to buy duplicates from Mumbai and sell it cheaply in the school in Rajkot. So that was the second product. And then I moved on to selling on my bicycle toasters and the sandwich maker machines, toasty machines, and the mixer grinder and everything. So all the ladies sitting outside their home in the evening, I go and approach them and say, hey, I have this amazing toasty machine. I give demonstration and I sell that. And I'm missing schools and just outside selling.
Yeah.
So that was the, things I liked. And it wasn't for the money. I had money and everything, but it was just to get out there and doing commerce,
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to ask you because, you didn't have to do it for the money, right? Because you obviously had your family supporting you. What was it about, I guess, starting that up and selling those sort of products? What was it that had you interested in that?
No, I think it's just that it gives you that kick when you are able to sell, and finding you buy it for $2 and then you sell it for $10. And then you see this profit coming in, and then you realize that, hey, now you can invest that into a bigger item, and you sell bigger items, and it's bigger and everything. So it's at that time, it was a cash economy. So people pay cash, and you have this bundles of money. And my father used to send me from Mumbai a lot of cash to pay for my school fees and groceries and everything. And they usually send 5 rupees bundle or 10 rupees, 20 rupees bundles, right? Fresh from the bank, Yeah. And I used to stack them up and see them growing, not spending, but I already had money coming in from my business, right? So I used to use all that money to pay for school and other things, but whatever my father sent that money, I used to stack them up, and I used to like seeing it, how it's growing.
At that age, probably going a little bit taller than you.
Yeah. So I used to love that, and it was just the fun, being out there, meeting people and cycling around and selling stuff and everything. Didn't like sitting in the classroom all the time.
Yeah. Right, okay.
Yeah.
And so tell us, because it is obviously part of the title of your book, where did the bicycle come into that into that equation?
So the title is called Terminal 4, an entrepreneur's journey from bicycle to business class. And bicycle is, I think I found the freedom on bicycle, that I can just be anywhere. I pick up my bike and I just go around in town, and I can just, as a kid, you are daring, and you keep your hands like this open, and you're bicycling. You're not afraid to fall and everything.
Yeah.
And I used to just go around in the street and bicycle and feel like I'm on top of the world. It was an old bike, red color, lady's bike. It was very cheap, but it was fun. And I used to have a radio with me, so I'm kind of listening to the radio while I'm on the bicycle.
Oh, right. So people could hear you coming.
In the street. That's right. Yeah. So I was like, people knew that this is Nilesh coming in the bicycle, in a red bike. So it was freedom, and I enjoyed the amazing time in cities, going around, exploring different streets and different areas and everything. And I couldn't believe that after exploring my streets and my city and the country, then I went around the world and explored 54 countries in a business class many times, and cockpit, because I used to work for an airline. And that's why it's called bicycle to business class, because then I was exploring the world in a business class around the world, flying, and went to many cities in Rio, Sao Paulo, Tokyo, New York, Paris to Nairobi to Sao Paulo. Many cities I went around the world, and that's why it's called bicycle to business class. But in reality, it's not about that. It's about doing business. So doing business in bicycle, and then doing business now and running a proper business. So people misinterpret sometimes the title, and they're saying, oh, but it's not environmentally friendly,
Right.
But they say, don't judge the book by its title, right?
Yes,
or cover.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Because you already touched on it earlier, but part of that journey was going to the UK and moving to London. Tell us about that, and what drew you to London?
So when I was a kid, I used to get this lot of guests coming in, my relatives or father's friends and others from UK. And my geography was not that great at the time. And a lot of guests used to come from London visiting us. And they all say, oh, we're from London. And they used to tell me all kind of different stories. And they used to bring this Bounty chocolates and biscuits and London Tower tin and everything. And my introduction to outside India was London as a first place, or a city and everything. And all these guests come, you look after them, you take them around, you give them a best, hospitality as a guest and everything. And I was always the person who looked after them. And they always said, oh, come to London. Yeah, one day. I said, yeah, okay, one day I'll come to London. and it became sort of like my goal, that one day I'll be in London, but I didn't know where it is.
Yeah.
Or it's part of UK or anything,
Yeah.
But as a child, I was like, I'm going to come to London one day. So I always had the desire to go there. And there is a interesting story how I managed to do that, despite of failing 4 times in 10th standard, which is O level. And I just couldn't pass the school because, of course, I wasn't studying and selling stuff. So going to London wasn't easy, but there is a whole journey behind it, how I managed to get there.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's like that alone is probably worth like several podcast episodes on that. But once you got to London, because I understand you moved there by yourself, like, so you weren't moving along with family or friends. What was that like, coming from where you grew up to moving to like a very large cosmopolitan city, more or less alone? Like, I know you would have known some people there, but what was that like, moving to a new city?
Well, it was cold, first of all. And my socks from Mumbai didn't work. And all the clothes I bought, I had so much luggage. It was just crazy. I brought everything you can imagine. but none of them work there. You have to buy local clothes to be warm,
Right. Yeah.
And
do you remember what season you came over?
I think it was February.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was still a winter period and everything. It was cold and dark and quiet and dull and freezing. And I was like, where are the people? Because you come from Mumbai, which is like so many people all the time.
Right.
You are surrounded by people, and in London it's quiet, and nighttime it's like curfew or sort of thing. And I'm like, where are the people? But overall, as I lived in a most cosmopolitan city in the world, very diverse, and I grew as a person. My mindset kind of just opened up, and it is center of the world, right? It's the best place in the world. If you are a teenager, you get a chance to live few years in London, best place to be. You meet all sorts of people around the world, and I joined the university there, and I saw in a classroom there were students from around the world and different age group. Even we had a 60-year-old lady who was studying undergraduate program, and I was like, I never knew that you could be that old and studying, And there were people with disabilities in there. There were wheelchair users in there, and there were people from Africa to Europe and other parts of the world. So I was like open up to the whole new world there, and it was just. But this initial days I couldn't understand anybody. My English I thought was good, but then it was Indian English and different accents, Irish, British. So I'm like trying to listen to them, but I just can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
And all the lecturers are giving local example of Richard Branson's and Tesco and Virgin Atlantic, and I'm like, what are they talking about? Because I don't know any of those people or any of these brands and everything.
Right.
So there was a lot of local context to the lecturing and everything, right? So I used to just cry first few weeks, and I'm like, I don't understand anything what they're talking. But then within few weeks and months, I picked up all the accent and started to communicate, and English improved and everything. Had so much fun, but still feeling missing food as usual. And when you are new to the town, you're converting pound to rupees all the time, and,
Sure.
and you're not eating anything because you're like, whoa, in this much money you can eat like 5 days in India, So constantly conversion is going on of the money,
Yeah.
And the kind of jobs I was getting was working like supermarkets or McDonald's or F&B type roles, cafeteria. And I said, I don't want to do any of these jobs. So for the first 6 months, I didn't work. And money was running out. And I only had 6 months money to pay for everything, because father said that, hey, you'll have to work and make your living expenses. Fees will be taken care. But the kind of jobs I was getting I was like, I don't want to do that kind of jobs. So I started doing website designing.
All right.
And started offering web development work and everything, and took few projects and everything. So started business there, and then launched the tiffin service, which is lunchbox service. So missing food, I was missing food, but then other people were missing food as well. So I just talked to the restaurant and opened up indiantiffinservice.com, which is the second highest at the time in UK. And people can order food online. They get delivered. It was like an Uber at the time.
Right.
But tied to one restaurant, and in only 40 kilometers radius to deliver.
Yeah.
And everything. So I started entrepreneurships there again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so fast forwarding quite a bit, coming to Australia. When did that happen, and I guess what brought you to sunny Australia?
2012, I came to Perth. I moved here, but 2011, I came on a holiday to do Southeast Asia, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and Australia. So I went on a trip for a few months. And I saw that it's a similar culture in terms of language and the roadside driving, and half the Britain is here. And I was like, whoa, this is a beautiful country. Weather is amazing. And Perth has the time zone, only 2.5 hours difference with Mumbai. So I was like, whoa, this is cool. And I have a best friend in Melbourne, childhood friend, and his name is Shakti, and he said, hey, a person like you who has IT background and entrepreneurial, you'll do well in Australia, and they need a skillful people here. So you should consider moving to here. So that he found me a course and a university and everything, and helped me make few decisions, and we applied for visa, and and I came as international students in 2012 to Perth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then I want to get to starting your company here. Tell us how that came about.
Yeah, so I knew that going to another country, you don't know anybody. You pretty much starting from scratch, and finding a job is not going to be easy. People will not give you that opportunity first break that easily. So I had applied for Australian business number, which my friend Shakti helped me get it online before I came here, which takes 24 hours to apply online. And I printed the business cards before I came here with the websites, and he purchased the phone number already for me. So I put it in there, and my business card was ready before I even landed. And I knew that as soon as I arrived here, I'll have to start going out there and try and find projects and create my own self-employment, So as soon as I arrived, I had a mindset ready that I'm going to build a business, create self-employment, but at the same time still looking for jobs. So I had a couple of jobs. Some of the jobs I don't want to say what I did, but I did it. Nobody knows. But had to do it to pay the food and rent and everything.
Yeah, sure,
But the business was also kicking off. Within 6 months, I had a few projects coming in and everything. It didn't take me that long to start making money compared to many other students who still struggled. But I knew that this is going to happen before I land there,
Yeah, great. And I suppose it takes like a lot of faith in knowing that you were able to achieve that coming to, again, like a brand new country. I guess, like, how did you grow that perspective of having that faith in yourself to achieve that, building a business here in a new country?
Well, it comes from experience or trying, whenever I travel to a new country, I traveled solo and I didn't know anybody, and I knew that I'm going to meet people, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to explore, I'm going to enjoy, I'm going to learn about the new culture. So having that adventurous mindset, that what may come, you'll be all right. And having that belief that, hey, you're still breathing. Every morning you wake up and you're still breathing, it will be all right, So I think I'm naturally from childhood not very negative person, always very positive in terms of things will be okay. And it's okay to be facing challenges, but that's life, and hard work will pay off eventually. And if it's not challenging, then it's not fun,
Yeah.
So I think sometimes the unknown and challenges and a bit of a scary situation gives me a little more power. It helps me to do even more good,
Yeah.
So some people thrive on challenges and unknown and instability,
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
And I've seen you describe, or rather heard you describe yourself as a job creator rather than a job seeker, and that's particularly true what we're talking about now when you came here to Australia. What does that mean to you as far as that, and why is that different to, like, a different approach, being a job creator, being an entrepreneur?
Well, I found a lot of people similar like me who are also in same boat, looking for jobs and everything. So I wanted to help myself by helping others.
Okay.
It's the same thing I did in London. So when I was missing my home food, I launched IndianTiffinService.com with the help of a restaurant, and they were getting all the business, and I was getting free food for 4.5 years. But other people also were on the same boat. So how can you find a way where you're helping others, but also you're helping yourself at the same time? Everything. And creating jobs for others who are also not getting opportunities. So in our business right now, we have 26 different nationalities, people with disabilities, age group from 19 to 72. We have LGBTQI plus to indigenous background people to anything you can imagine, not just the gender diversity or cultural diversity, faith diversity. We have everything in that. We have refugee, international students, everybody. And 90% of our workforce, this is their first job in the country.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? So I wanted to create opportunities for those people who come to the new country and they struggle. And they're just looking for a way to prove themselves that they can deliver, they can do. So creating that pathway for them was something more satisfying for me. than just making money. Money is byproduct of enjoying and doing something good which you feel proud of. So yes, awards are there, global awards, national awards, a lot of things happen, but creating jobs are the most satisfying for me.
Yeah,
You know,
fantastic.
and creating jobs gives people a self confidence that hey, they can pay for their education, they can start a family, they can get a house, they get their PR and everything, and you see their life grow. And with the experience, the confidence grows and everything. And we say, hey, you need to integrate, you need to have a local experience. We tell the newcomers, but unless you give them a job, how can they have all that?
Yeah. And so, like, I guess, do you get a kick out of that and get satisfaction from that? Because I guess you understand what it's been like, not just coming to Australia, but going to other countries as well. Like, what it's like to be in that position, right?
Definitely. I think a lot of people say, oh, I can empathize, but unless they've been in that situation, shoes, is difficult. Very difficult. There is a saying, inheritance diversity versus acquired diversity. And inheritance diversity is where you grew up in a circle, in a particular city, particular environment, particular faith or family, and you took all your diversity mindset from that background. But acquired diversity is what you learn on your own and you explored on your own and you went around the world and you change your belief and mindset, because what you grew up with and what you learned now is two different things.
Yeah.
So, for example, in India, I used to see in movies all the beggars are people with disabilities, and if you are with disabled, then they say, oh, you did bad karma, that's why God punished you to be like this or whatever. Those sometime movie gives you different picture. But when I went to UK and came to Australia, it's not the case. It's like they are treated as equal. They're given the rights and opportunities, and there are special arrangement, toilets and ramps and for them. So I never saw people with disability like that before I went to UK or Australia.
Yeah.
And that's acquired diversity. But then I thought I was diverse enough by hiring people with disability into my business, creating make sure that they have a right ramp to go around, enough space, right table and chair so that they can be part of our environment. But until I met Santiago, a friend of mine who's in wheelchair, he invited me to shopping with him. I discovered that it's so hard to shop in the changing room. He has to buy whatever he could, go home, bring him back and change. Because changing rooms are not equipped to handle the scooter and wheelchair and everything, right? Not big enough. I played a hockey with him on wheelchair for the first time, and I was part of his environment. And looking at how they live life and how they play sports and being part of their life rather than asking them to create space in our life and be equal in our journey. I was part of their journey, right?
Yeah.
And that gave me another perspective. So sometimes people say, oh yeah, I know I can empathize, I know diversity and my mind is diverse, but unless you are experienced yourself, it's difficult to understand.
Yeah.
So I focus more on lived experiences, which are most important than just thinking, oh yeah, my mother was from Croatia, my father is from England, we are very diverse,
Yeah, great. And I suppose like the amount of travel that you've done as well, like has sort of been like the byproduct has been that you have gotten a lot of different experiences. Is that something you've noticed?
Yeah, so in my book I talk about quite a lot about the best. If you have money as a young person, you should spend on traveling, and that's the best thing investment you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say go to uni until you have traveled a little bit. Going to uni is good experience, making friends and experiencing uni life and everything. But if you had the money, then I would say travel. Travel will open up your mind. It will expose you to outside culture, different religion, different people. And then you will learn one thing. At the end, everybody is the same. Doesn't matter where they come from. Maslow's hierarchy is the same. The only thing we have add to Maslow hierarchy is a good Wi-Fi and good phone, Yeah, but it's the same. Everybody wants the same thing. Doesn't matter which part of the world you go to, they all want the same thing. The people underneath are the same. There's no difference. It's still the red blood.
Yeah.
So that's traveling teaches you that quite a lot.
Yeah. And that story you were telling us with the friend you had, like, that's one example. But other, like, is that something you're actively doing as far as like putting yourself in positions where you're actually experiencing things from another perspective? And if so, is that something you recommend?
Yeah, definitely. Having a growth mindset means you have to be open to experiencing other perspective in other people, and it's not easy. You have biases inbuilt. Everybody has biases. So I'll give you a little example. We've been given many diversity awards and have received national global awards for our diversity and everything, right, in the business. But I was interviewing last year this software developer. He's from Pakistan, and I'm from India. I'm Hindu, he's Muslim. Cricket between Pakistan and India is like a huge thing. And I'm in this powerful position, CEO, who can make a decision whether to hire or not hire and everything. And we need a software developer, but I'm just looking at him and thinking, back of my mind, biases are kicking in, that he's from Pakistan, he's Muslim, XYZ, right? And then I had to remind myself, no, hold on, he's a West Australian, he's got the working rights, he has the skill, we need that skill, and he does great job, and he deserves to be the same chance as I had and everything, right? You think you are diverse, but you don't know when your bias starts kicking in.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it's interesting you actually have to consciously go and inside yourself and go, oh, hang on. I'm
not thinking right here.
Yeah.
But that happens. And it happens quite often without you knowing it.
Yeah.
Because your inheritance diversity kicks in.
Yeah.
So that I have to remind myself. I said, hold on a minute. I'm in Western Australia. I'm not there. Yeah. And everybody's equal. So it's a constant. You cannot become fully diverse ever. You are going to be on a journey for the rest of your life. And you're going to continue to learn new things and continue to learn about yourself. I think diversity is not about how you treat others here, how you thinking inside yourself, how you're treating yourself. Hey, do you want to be like that?
Yeah.
Do you want to think like that? Do you want to treat people like that? Be the change you wish to see, they say. Yeah, famous quote.
Yeah.
But what does it really mean to live by that?
Yeah.
You have to constantly remind yourself to say, hey, that's not right.
Yeah.
Think differently.
Yeah.
So that kicks in all the time. We all have biases.
Yeah, fantastic. And just talking about change, I want to kind of bring it to your company, that being Illuminance Solutions. Firstly, where's the name come from? I'm always fascinated by the names people select.
Yeah, so my business partner, Vincent Lam, and we both are 50-50 and in the business. So he's a principal consultant, I'm a CEO, and we both had a separate business called Tantra Technology. I had one software development and he had CRM Perth, which was CRM business and everything. And we wanted to keep a name which is common for both of us, and illuminance solution is lighting pathway to success. So we wanted a tagline, a lighting pathway to success. And illuminance is like light bulb moment, or giving that spark using technology to illuminate. So that's the whole idea. But then we changed our tagline to the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. And the little extra is the customer service.
I want to talk a bit about that in a second. But as far as, because I know you, and we sort of at the head of the show talked about it, that your focus and your interest in social impact and a wider social impact. How does what you do with Illuminance Solutions service that through technology? In other words, what role does technology have on delivering a social impact in what you do?
Yes, I'll give you a few examples. When we started Illuminance Solution, Microsoft partnership, we decided to focus only on one technology stack, which is specialized in something, and that was Microsoft technology. And the big end of town, everybody was focused on mining, state government, local government, where the big pockets are. So we went opposite and we focused on niche area, non-for-profit, and which is underserved. And they usually struggle with CapEx investment into technology and everything. And technology is supposed to be a cost-saving center, not a cost center. But traditionally, it has been a lot of businesses spend a lot of money on technology, but it doesn't drive the value it's supposed to. So it's supposed to make life easier and save you a lot more and make you more efficient and everything. So we decided to focus on not-for-profit sector. And also Vincent and I thought that, hey, you want to live a life with purpose, that do something which while you're making money, you're doing good. You don't have to. There are two ways. You make a lot of money and then you say, hey, now I want to do some philanthropy and build a foundation and donate, right? Or while you're making money, you continuing doing good along the journey.
Yeah.
Don't have to wait to be a billionaire to be a philanthropic, right?
Yeah.
And everything. So we thought let's use our skills and knowledge, and that comes from a philosophy of karmic management and servant leadership, that you exist to serve others in the society, and you do good karma through business on daily basis, and the money is there, but along the journey you are having fun and you're doing good something and you feel like you contributed back into the society somewhere, right? So let me give you example of the kind of things we have done. One of the system we designed is called Avan Care, and that's designed for disability and aged care sector. A lot of disability service provider in Australia needs proper systems to manage client management, record management, case management, reporting to the government. They need document management, donation management, scheduling and rostering. They need a CRM to do client-centric approach. Yeah. And we use cloud for non-for-profit from Microsoft with 75% discount and created this entire end-to-end platform which takes care of the entire client journey and helps businesses to scale, be client-centric and have a single source of truth in their system, so they don't have to have many different systems. Yeah. And that project won a global award from Microsoft for social impact, and that was a very big deal. For the first time, Microsoft awarded such a large global award for social impact, and we were the first winner. 3,300 nominations around the world and one winner from Perth, small company, right? Yeah. So that was a big deal. Then we had Aboriginal trust management system. So we have this native title groups who signs royalty agreement with mining industry. They get all this money to do fund distribution for funeral fund, medical fund, education fund. They call that prescribed body corporation. So all these corporations, they have to look after the community and do fund management. But sometimes there is a corruption issues, governance issues, and record keeping issues and everything. So we designed this system for those sort of corporations and trusts to use for heritage management and trust management, fund management system. And there are 39 native title groups who uses this system. And that's again unique in Australia, and it has saved a lot of money to the trust and reporting and compliance and everything. Then we designed a member-based management association system, MAMS, which is for member-based organizations. So you got like CARES WA, Australian Property Institute, Master Builder. They need a CRM to do member engagement, and we designed something for them. But that's again using everything from Microsoft, same enterprise system which Rio or big mining company will use, but it's delivered for the not-for-profit sector at the discounted prices and everything. And those projects became quite a successful, and it's around the nation. We have many clients who uses all these products and systems and everything. Yeah. So that's a few example of how we use technology for community-based organizations to drive some cost saving and efficiency and compliance and everything,
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's good to see that, like you said, you're getting the recognition that you deserve as a company for that. One thing I want to ask, because a big part of what we do when we work with and partner with the clients that we do is really humanizing a brand and a company. And I like what you said around that client-centric approach to what you do. And I feel like we're a big believer that people do business with other people as well. Mm-hmm. What are some of the other things you do to have that, I guess, that client-focused approach in what you do and have that really good quality customer service?
When I came new to Perth, I met this guy, Colin Hayes. He's a plumber. And at the Mount Lowly Club somewhere I was dancing, and, when you're new, you're student, you're enjoying, and out there looking for a date. I'm dancing in a club, and I met Colin, and he became my first client. And he says, dude, I got a few websites. Can you look after me? I said, sure, mate, I'll do that for you. And then I did a good job. He was happy with it. Then he introduced me to his father, who had a self-managed fund business or something, and he needed something to do with his website. So I meet him at the coffee club, and I said, I need advance. And he calls his son Colin, and he says, hey, this boy, I don't know him. He doesn't have an office. He's asking for advance money. Is he rigid age? And it's like using slang, Aussie slang, to ask him if he's a trustworthy, if he's a good bloke, if he's rigid age. So I asked Colin, I said, hey, what was your father asking about me? He said, oh, no, he was just checking whether you're going to run away with the money or or you're going to deliver, is he rigid age? That's the way to check that if they can trust you, So I told my father, he said, yeah, he's all right, he's rigid age, give him the money, no problem, everything. So I did a good job, and his father was happy, and then he introduced me to somebody else. So then I learned that in Australia, you just have to be rigid age. Just be a good bloke, just deliver. Take the money and deliver. And if you can deliver on your promise, and if you are not a cowboy and not milking the client and chewing their budget and just tying them up into big contracts and keep making money out of them without doing much, because that's the mindset, right? In IT, a lot of people just wants to have a residential income, SaaS product. Just keep charging the client. And make them dependent, create a technical debt so they can just stick with you and everything and all. But that's not honest thing to do in terms of holding them into contract for long terms and everything. If they pay you, you deliver, and they'll stay with you for long. And that Colin is still my friend after 10 years, and he's still my advocate. So
is he still telling people, all your new clients, they call him up?
Exactly. So I think you just have to be a good bloke in rigid age in Australia. Just as a business, if you just keep delivering to your client, and client will give you more clients. That's it. You don't need to do much actually in Australia. People trust you if you just keep delivering on your promises. Simple as that, And customer service bar is very low anyway here.
Right. Okay.
You go to cafe, you have to order your own coffee and clean your own table, pick up your own, cutlery.
Don't get started. We're going to get upset if we start talking about the customer service.
So if you just offer a good customer service in Australia, you're already a winner. You don't need to be highly innovative or do anything different. Just offer good customer service, and if you charge, you deliver. Simple as that,
Yeah, right. And like you said, it's an integrity thing, isn't it, as well? Like going back to what you were saying, as far as, if you say you're going to do something, you do it, and you look after the interests of the person who's the client, and just making sure that you deliver on that. And have you found, like you said, has that built loyalty for, as you've built and scaled into a larger company? Has that built loyalty as far as people sticking around?
Definitely. So the customer doesn't want to move. They don't want to get another vendor or start changing and chopping services and everything, because it takes a lot of time and effort to start new relationship with a new vendor. If they're happy, you keep going, right? If you like some place, you're not going to change your hairdresser, you're not going to change your supplier, you're not going to change your coffee place if you're happy with that coffee and everything and all. It's the same thing in IT. If you're doing a good job, you're looking after, and you're being reasonable, the client will keep going with you. And then they'll refer to you. So life can be simple if you just keep it simple. There is no magic formula to that. It's just keep going back and looking after, listening to their concerns, and be transparent, be honest, Don't be afraid to tell them what you're charging, why you're charging, how much you're charging, how much you're making. Recently, we won a really large mining client, and one of the big, large international firm lost the contract to us. And we are a tiny, small company compared to them. And the only reason why is because we were transparent in our response. When we put a tender response in place, we exactly said why, how much, what we're charging, what price, how much we are making. It was completely transparency. People say transparency, but what do you mean by transparency? Don't be afraid to be naked in terms of your process and charges and why you're doing it, what you're doing it in your response in tender, and customer will see that these guys are really coming clean, coming transparent, and they like it.
Fantastic. I sort of want to go a bit back as far as I really appreciate how your sort of mindset and perspective on your career and your younger years as well. I want to focus on, has there been a particular challenge that you can think of that you've had to overcome, or several challenges, especially around, because you've traveled so much and moving, starting up businesses? Has there been a particular challenge that you face, and how have you been able to overcome that?
Yeah, no, there were a lot of challenges, even challenges right now in life. I think staying away from family was a big challenge. Missing family and worrying about your father and worrying about your family members, and that has been not easy because you away from all of them, right? So that has been personally very challenging. But then I'm a extrovert person, so I have a lot of friends and big circle and everything. So it's not that difficult. But that was a very big challenge for many years. Professionally, I say I had started the business, and then I had a challenge with one of the business partner in Australia who just took all the money and ran away, and I run me to the ground, and I lost everything, all was homeless. But because I had a good network, social wealth, which is more important than the capital wealth, because of the social wealth I had, I just bounced back very quickly and managed to get on my feet again, and found a job and started the business again, and now it's 10 times bigger than what I had before and everything. So had some downfalls, challenges, but managed to overcome. And then the biggest challenge was to take first mortgage, because I come from a cash economy and the financial background where you use debit card and you only spend what you have, you don't live on credit cards or borrowing or anything.
Yeah.
So my mindset was not ready to say, I need to take a big mortgage to get a beautiful apartment I want in the Swan River in the city. So I had to really train myself to think like that I'm going to take money.
Yeah.
And that was a big challenge. But guess what? I was like, that's not bad. I just said, worst comes to worst, if business is not doing great, I can find a job easily somewhere. Anybody would give me a job here in this town because of the network I have and everything. And I can continue to pay my mortgage. Shouldn't be a problem, So that was another big challenge I had to overcome.
Yeah.
And then managed to get the home sorted as well. So some inner challenges,
Yeah, it's usually the case, though, isn't it? It's the inner challenges that are harder.
Yeah,
But would you do anything differently?
No, everything has been as it's supposed to be. I think, you learn through everything, and you know that you're not going to be able to go back and change anything. It happened, whatever happened in professional, personal life and everything. But you try to learn from it and keep going and be a better person every day. So there is a lot of learning along the way. Everybody learns that way anyway. They all fall and they all get up and they learn and they try again and do slightly differently, right? So I think for me, I'm still learning, still growing, still trying to be a better person and be a good business person, good community leader, good family member, good colleague, good partner. So I'm trying to every day think how you can do better. And that's the growth mindset is required, in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you drawn any inspiration from people, Nilesh? Are there people that, when you're younger or whether it's now, that you've sort of drawn inspiration from to?
Yeah, my father has been sort of like a role model for me as well, and he's done a lot for the community. So I learned a lot from him to have the nature of forgiving and giving. He's a very giving person and forgiving person, not holding any grudges, not being any angry at stuff, but just let go, so that big lessons. My uncle who's passed away, who helped me where I'm today, they always used to say you must command respect, not demand respect. So I admired him. He was ethical, did the right thing. He was rigid edge, and that inspired him. Mahatma Gandhi, I like some of his quotes. So whenever I have few things going on in life, I try to remember a few quotes from him. One of them is like your belief becomes your thoughts becomes your action becomes who you are. So you have to control your belief. and he was a persistent man.
Yeah.
He didn't give up.
Yeah, incredibly resilient. Yeah.
Yeah, so that sort of values I learned from him. But then I learned from everybody I meet, my colleagues and my team members in the business, new migrants who come here and they're going through the same journey, and I see that, wow, they are so brave to do this. I learned from some leaders in this town who are doing great things in the community out there. I learned from some of the indigenous leaders I know here in this town. So you always, and kids, kids are also amazing, inspiring to me. They're just so pure. They don't care about anything, just having fun and being pure. And if you give them chocolate, they honestly say, yeah, I want it, and everything. And if you don't pay attention to while they're playing, they're not happy because they want you to see that, hey, you're paying attention,
Yeah.
I'm playing and everything and all. So you learn about human psychology and inspirational from every walks of life, from everywhere. So you're constantly inspired by people you meet and see positive in their life and what you can take from them. Yeah, you don't need to have only the mentors in your life to learn from.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody can be your mentor,
Yeah. No, I love it. That's fantastic. And what's the future hold for yourself, Nilesh, both personally and professionally? Where are you heading?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm just focusing on health right now. So have turned 40 and I'm thinking that, hey, you need to, stay fit, stay in the same clothes, same wardrobe.
Yeah.
So that's my focus area for now. And, professionally, I would say it's going well. The company is running and it's growing every year, 15-20%, which is a good growth. Having fun, enjoying. 5 years, what will happen? I don't know, but definitely it's better than if you look back last 40 years, it has only progressed.
Yeah.
The world has only become a better place in many ways, but we have a lot of negative news. There is a book called The Factfulness, and the Factfulness shows you that how medical has progressed, how the education has progressed, or how the technology has progressed, or where the people are living longer, and the financial industry, how people have came out of poverty around the world. And if you look at your personal life, what you were doing 20 years ago as a family or individually, you are in a better place in many ways. So mostly it's positive, right?
Yeah.
So in 5 years to come, 10 years to come, you'll only will be doing better than what you're doing now, unless you're terribly something into drugs and out of control. That's a different question, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried. I'm sure that things will be positive and good and progressive. But along the journey, you just want to do more of what you love, which is giving back and making a difference out there in the society. Yeah, living a Australian life,
Yeah.
Don't take it too seriously. Yeah. Be a rigid age.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And on the health side, are you still cycling? Do you still get on the bike?
Definitely, yeah. So my favorite thing to do is to cycle around the Swan River here, and I have the bike, two of them, and I keep one in the office, one at home, and whenever I find an opportunity, I just bike around. I tried to do it recently, putting hands like this, but then. Because I thought I'm not. If I fall now,
it's gonna hurt a little bit more than when you're 12. Yeah.
So I'm not that daring I used to be, but I still cycle and enjoy that part of my life. Perth is beautiful city. It's heaven, I call it. We're incredibly fortunate to living in a great weather, great people, great community. Everybody knows everybody here. So I like being here and cycling and. Just being free, feeling the air when you're traveling, cycling. Yeah. Still enjoy that.
Fantastic. We are coming to the end of the episode, Nilesh, and I really appreciate you coming on. But before we wrap things up, how can people find out more about you? Where would you like our listeners to go if they want to learn more about yourself?
Yeah, there's this domain called nilesh.com. Nilesh, Nilesh, right? Nilesh.com. And what happened is 97, 98, there were only 3 domains to book, .com, .net, .org. Not that many domains were there. And those days I was doing website designing. End of 99, I had a web designing company and everything. So I managed to book that domain, nilesh.com, at that time.
Wow.
And there are millions of Nilesh first name around the world and in India as well. So I had this website domain for a very long time, and for 20 years I didn't do anything with it. I just kept renewing every year. And finally now the book is launched, and there's a little bit of a profile and everything. So I thought, if somebody wants to find out who is Nilesh, then there's a nilesh.com,
Yeah.
So that website is there, and a book is there as well. So if people are interested to see about the book and a little bit more about the journey, then nilesh.com is a good place to start. Or they can find me on LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn quite a lot.
Excellent. And all those links will be in the show notes so that people can link straight to that.
Yeah.
Nilesh, again, really thank you for coming on. I'm sure we could talk for hours about these topics. And hopefully we can get you back on in future. But thanks for coming on and sharing your journey.
Thanks, Jeremy. Now hopefully Odyssey Podcast has made me more famous. Thank you for that.
Sure it has.
Cheers.